And then if we don't do stuff, then the world will get hotter, the icebergs will melt, and then eventually the polar bears will die. And eventually all the animals will die. Then, well, the plants will die first, then the bees, then the animals, and then eventually we'll just die as well.
Probably due to things like diseases and skin cancer, then maybe mental illnesses, and no food, no water. It would just be torturing.
If we continue the way we're going without any climate change bill, I doubt that we'd be alive by then, but anyway, I think for children in Scotland, they'd probably dread the morning because they just worse and worse. More nowadays, kids just don't like school. They wouldn't like their life as it was then. They'd be glad to be alive, but probably wish they were alive about now, not when they were alive then.
Those said children could be cut off from the environment because of advanced technologies, or the PS10, the PlayStation 10. They would be free in their cyber worlds, but not spiritually free.
In 2050, there might not be any airports in Scotland, but we might not have to do anything about that because the credit crunch might get the airports before we actually have to say anything about getting rid of airports.
Computer games being mass-produced at the moment, but in the future, if kind of oil supplies start to dwindle, then we won't be able to run the factories to make these games, and so the price will go up a lot.
If renewable energies become cheap, then oil will be probably used by the diehards.
But in 2050, I don't think there'll be any Olympics or athletics because there'll be no land unless they build a floating land.
Well, Scotland will be in like a state a bit like someone stabbing themselves trying to get rid of a parasite. Like it'll hurt like Scotland as a whole, and it'll cause a bit of like economic damage and might be quite serious, but it'll be much better in the long term.
Like when you wake up, it would hopefully be quite nice because it would be an eco world. And then you'd get up and it would be nice and warm, toasty warm in your house because of the solar panels. And then you'd go outside and you'd go down maybe a flight of stairs because that's quite nice, and into your garden and then through the fence, and then there'd be a train waiting for you, an eco train waiting for you to take you to school. And then you'd get in the train and it'd be nice and comfy, and you'd have a little chat with your friends, and then you'd pass in the countryside and you'd see all the wonderful things, and then that would take about 10 minutes and then you'd get to school and it'd be nice, a nice start to your day.
Well, in the eco world, there's like technology to be working on like hydrogen fuel cell cars and buses and things as well, but like solar panels, just instead of using the cars, different kinds of fuel, instead of using like petrol and diesel.
Painting roofs white, because this reflects sunlight back. If you are familiar with the albedo effect, it would increase solar radiation back into space, although it would be quite an eyesore from some pilots if one flew over Glasgow and was blinded by all the white roofs.
For you to do something to help me and make sure I have a future is to maybe do things like recycle more, maybe car share, do things that would help the environment and help me have a future.
I think that all these people watching should be trying to grow your own food instead of just going to the supermarket and buying it for double the price. I think that's you should buy it, grow it yourself, and you get it half the price.
Well, I know that like if you've got big important jobs, you've got to take your car or take a taxi or a train or something. You'll have to like maybe stop doing that and take the bus instead.
My final message to all the adults is, I'm scared. Everybody, all the children are quite scared. You could see it. And I don't really want the world when I grow up, I don't want it to be horrible. I want it to be nice. So if you can, just please do your bit, because it's not nice knowing that when you're going to grow up, the world won't be a nice place. So, you know, it's everyone's world, not just yours. Do your bit.
If everyone lived like Scotland, we would need 3 planets. If you would stop using so much stuff, we'd only need 2 planets.
And if we completely cut down as much as we can, we'll only need 1 planet.